All right, I'm going to show you how to set up your business profile. The setup you'll only need to do when you're a new account for the first time. Of course, you can go in and make changes to it later if you need to. Just click on settings. The profile should be the first thing that loads up, but if not, in the left menu here, just find business profile and click on it. So first you'll want to upload a business logo. It needs to be 350 pixels by 180 pixels and no bigger than 2.5 megabits. So just hit upload, find the image, click on it, and it'll display it there when it's set up. Next, you'll want to fill in your friendly business name. So this will be what faces out to your leads and customers, things like that. So it may be different than your legal business name. A lot of times this may be your DBA, or if you want to just shorten your name somehow, you can put that there. Legal business name. So here you need to put exactly how it appears on any of your legal business paperwork, like with the IRS, government, on your EIN letter, things like that. That helps with compliance registration. That'll occur a little later. Business email, business phone number, your website. You can leave the niche blank. The API key is located here. You won't need it right now, but just so you know in the future, that's your API key. Click Update Information to save this section. Then scroll down to Business Information. Select your business's legal structure. You don't really need to select an industry, but if you want, you can select agricultural for landscapers. Select your ID type. So if you're in the US, your ID type is going to be an EIN. Enter in your EIN number here. If you don't have one, we do highly recommend getting one. It will help a lot with your compliance registration that will occur later. Even if you're a sole proprietor, you can still get an EIN. It's just not required. But again, it will help later on. So if you haven't gotten one, you can just go to the IRS website and search for EIN, and you can register for one there. You can do it online, and I think they just email you the letter pretty much instantly. So you can do that real quick and then come back and put it in here. If you choose that you just really don't want to do an EIN for some reason, just click My Business is not registered so that field isn't required. Region of operations, you can just hit USA, Canada if that's where you're at, but really you don't really need to enter anything there. Click Update Information. Next is the call and voicemail settings. So this is the system voicemail. That's kind of the default voicemail. So you can upload individual voicemails for each team member so that their voicemail plays if the call is being sent to them. But you can have a generic one here as well in case it's not going to a certain team member. It's just going to the kind of the default line. If you're going to use our IVR system to set up menus and things like that, don't set this up. Just leave all this area blank, leave it as is, and we'll set up the IVR later. If you're just a single user or you don't want to mess with setting up the IVR, you don't need the advanced functions they offer, you can set this up. The incoming call timeout is how long it will ring before it goes to the voicemail. And then down here, you'll just want to pre-record your voicemail message and upload it here. So just click upload, find your recording, double click on it. It'll show it there. You can hit play if you want to hear a preview, or you can delete it off if you hit the wrong one and upload a new one. Hit save call settings. Okay, now scroll back up. Business physical address, just verify that your address information is correct here. Make sure your time zone is correct. This is important for calendars later. And then select your language preferences for your platform, what the platform language is going to display in, and then what your outbound communication language is going to be for custom values. And custom values we'll go over later. Hit update there. Authorized representative. So this is typically going to be the primary user of the system, which is usually the owner or the CEO. So put in their information here, name, email, position, phone number. Make sure to enter a country code in here because we do have international capabilities. So if you're in America, you just want to hit +1, and then it'll format the phone number correctly for you. Hit update information. This next section is very important. First off, the allow duplicate opportunity. If you want to, an opportunity is basically like a potential sale or something like that in a sales pipeline. So if you want to be able to have duplicates of the same one, you can check that on. We usually don't, but you can. Merge Facebook contacts by name. So if you have a contact who comes into the system through Facebook, it'll see if there's already that name existing in the system, and if there is, it'll merge them together. I recommend leaving it checked off, because it could accidentally merge people together with common names that may not actually be the same person. Disable contact time zone, leave that off. So what the system does is it will automatically adjust any like calendar appointments from your time zone to whatever the time zone is of the user who's registering on your calendar. And so that could be different possibly. If you check this, then it's going to force it to always be your selected time zone rather than their time zone. So I would just leave it unchecked. It doesn't really, as long as it's unchecked, if they're in your same time zone, it'll show your time zone. If they're in a different one, it'll show their time zone. So, okay, these next few are compliance things. Mark emails as invalid due to a hard bounce. This needs to be checked. So if an email goes out and it does a hard bounce, which is where basically the email just doesn't even exist, then it will mark it as invalid and it won't try to send to that any longer. That's important to keep your email account from being flagged or blacklisted, which could prevent you from sending emails from that account. So have that checked on. These next two, these are validation processes for phone numbers and emails. So whenever you send the first text or first email to a new contact, it will validate or verify that that phone number and email address are real valid phone numbers or email addresses. There is a charge for this. It is 0.005 cents per validation, so pretty minimal. And it's only going to do it the first time you send a text and the first time you send an email to a brand new contact. So it's not going to do it every text, every email. So it's pretty minimal cost. And again, that just helps you from getting your phone number or email flagged or blacklisted and potentially blocked. Next is SMS compliance and email compliant messaging. So the first one is make my SMS compliant by adding an opt-out message and it's pre-filled. Make sure that's checked. Make SMS compliant by adding a sender information, which the pre-default is just thanks, comma, and then your business friendly name up here. And then the email is make email compliant by adding an unsubscribe link. So this is just a link at the bottom of the email they can click to where if they no longer want to receive emails from you. I have all these checked. Don't customize the reply stop to unsubscribe and the email unsubscribe because those are set up to meet the legal requirements. You can customize the sender information one here if you want. Just click customize. Make sure the sender ID stays in there because that is legally required. That's just where it generates your business name. But you can change this part over here if you don't like thanks. If you want something more formal, you can put thank you or however you want to do it there. So just hit save. Okay, down here, allow duplicate contacts. So if you want to be able to have multiple contacts of the exact same person in the system, you can check that on. We leave it off. And then the system will try to match contacts and merge them if necessary. So you can select how they match. So it can match by email or phone. I recommend email because most people will have their own individual email. But especially if you're dealing with businesses, they could share a phone line. And you may want to have multiple people from the same company in your system as separate accounts. So do email. And then secondary search is phone. You can turn that off to none if you don't want a secondary match at all, which I would recommend is just turning it to none. So email and none. And then missed call text back. We no longer really use this. We can do this a much better way using an automation in the system later. So you actually want to have this unchecked and just hit save to missed call text settings. And that is everything. Your business profile is now set up.